Alrighty guys, welcome back to Star Wars Review. Today I'm reviewing Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 3 Episode 10, Identity Crisis, which was directed by Saul Ruiz and was written by Amanda Rose Muniz. It was released on April 3rd, 2024, which I thought was a great episode. It shifts the focus from The Bad Batch and back to Mount Tantus as the episode follows Emery as she gets a promotion and takes on the role Nala Se had, and so she learns the true horrors of what Hemlock and the Empire are doing with this Project Necromancer. And so, the viewers also learn more about it, which what Hemlock is doing is holding a few children prisoner who have a positive M count, which was a very shocking moment. But we learn this near the start of the episode as we see Emery speaking with Hemlock about how progress has stalled in the lab and that she wishes to take Nala Se's role, which Hemlock agrees with her and tells her what's going on with Project Necromancer, which right before this there is a moment with Hemlock in his in this special room closing this tank thingy, I don't know, and seemingly someone in it as he then looks at this tablet which has this special looking trooper on it, some plans or whatever, I don't know what to call it, which does show back up later in the episode. But to get back to Hemlock and Emery, we see him take her into the vault and tells her that the specimens are now in her care, which he takes her inside of this room where there's 3 children who, some of them we learn their names in the episode. It's a little bit after this, but I'm just going to refer to them as their names, which there's a Iktachi named Eva, a Miralan named Jax, and a Pantoran girl who we don't learn the name of in this episode. But Emery is a little shocked that they're, children, and she asks why children and not adults, which Hemlock basically says they're easier to control, and there aren't many adults left with a high M count, which Hemlock then explains why they need them and Omega, as they're trying to replicate M count DNA into another specimen or something like that, and they can't directly replicate it from the positive children, but when they combine their DNA with Omega's, it works, and so they need Omega to continue to take her blood and use it and whatnot, which Hemlock tells Emery to continue testing the other children while also preparing for Omega once she's returned to them, which we then see Hemlock speak with Scorch for a moment while Ava goes up and speaks with Emery, which Emery asks for her name, which is when Hemlock then tells Emery to limit her personal interactions with the specimens, as they are nothing more than scientific assets, which Ava accepts that and walks away. But while we see Hemlock leave, he puts his data pad into the door and opens it. We see the Miralan Jax watch him do that, seemingly plotting an escape. But I really loved this whole moment, just learning more about Project Necromancer, why the full reason they need Omega, but also just the shock of seeing these children being held prisoner just made me hate Hemlock just so much more, for just how downright evil it is what he's doing. But we then see sometime later as Emery is doing blood work on them, which we see her speaking with Ava, who tells Emery, her name, but also asks what happened to Nala Se, which Emery says that she's no longer overseeing the project and that it's none of Ava's concern, which Ava says she was wondering because Nala Se said she was going to find out how much longer they had to stay here for, which Emery tells Ava that she'll look into it now for her, which, obviously Emery knows the answer is indefinitely, but obviously doesn't say that. But she then goes to Jack's room, going, do the blood work on him, but he ends up stealing her data pad and tries to escape, but the alarms go off and, he can't open the door. And so we see Emery, go over to him and try to talk him down, but Scorch and 2 other clone commandos come in with their blasters pointed at Jax, which Emery tells them to stand down and that everything is under control, which is when Jax makes his escape attempt, and so Scorch stuns him, which angers Emery, who tells Scorch that his actions were extreme and that, Jax is just a child, which Scorch says he's just following protocol. But later we see that Jax is being held in his room as Ava asks Emery if he's in trouble, which Emery says he isn't and that they can see each other again tomorrow. But we then see Emery leave and visit Nala Se, asking her questions about Project Necromancer, which, Nala Se assumes that Emery has taken her place and talks about the specimens, which Emery confirms that and talks about how they're just children, which she also says like she was, which that line was definitely interesting. I do wonder if they'll dive more into Emery's backstory more in future episodes, but she then says that the children don't belong here, which Nala Se agrees, but she says she had to protect Omega and did everything she could for the other children, and so now the other children will have to look towards Emery for help, which Emery says there's nothing she can do and that she doesn't have that kind of power, which Nala Se asks her, don't you? Trying to get Emery to see that she does have more power over Hemlock than anyone else does, and so Emery leaves. But during all of this, we see on some unknown planet where a force-sensitive child who's a Tarlafar, we see him with his mother kind of out shopping and whatnot in the market, when the young Tarlafar, I think her name was Bairn, uses the force to throw a flower pot at this Aqualish, which, everyone sees it, and so the mother picks up Bairn and heads back home, which we then see that the Aqualish is actually their neighbor and reports them to the Empire, which sometime later we see Cad Bane and Toro come and capture Bairn, which first they stun his mother and then take him away, which there's a very heart-wrenching scene of Bairn reaching out to his mother who's passed out on the floor. This was a very sad moment there. But, obviously Cad Bane and Toro take him away. And so later we see Hemlock tell Emery that they've acquired another specimen. And so we see Emery ask if she can go along with the troopers to pick them up, which Hemlock isn't too keen on the idea, but we see a TK trooper kind of go up to him and tell him that Tarkin wants to speak with him at once, and so he can't argue with Emery any longer, so he allows her to go pick up the child, which to stick with Hemlock, we see him go to his office and speak with Tarkin via hologram, which Tarkin is just kind of questioning Hemlock on why he's asking and receiving so much funding and resources, which Hemlock says it's for a personal project for the Emperor, which Tarkin asks what it is, but Hemlock says it is classified, which then Tarkin asks if he needs any assistance, but Hemlock says all he needs is the funding and resources, which he reassures will be worth it, which Tarkin basically tells him it better be, or it won't bode well for him or his project, which Tarkin then hangs up. We then see Hemlock kind of look down at his tablet thingy on his desk, which we see him look through some of these trooper plan thingies, one for CX2, but also that one from earlier we saw him looking at on the data pad. But he then calls up CX2 asking for an update, which it seems like CX2 has found Sid and interrogated her, which, that bastard has revealed some info about the Bad Batch, mainly that they have been hanging out with a pirate who we know is Fee, and so now CX2 is hunting Fee down, which Hemlock says that CX2 won't have help as the other troopers aren't ready yet, and that he better not fail him again. But we then see Emery go and pick up Bairn in this space station over Coruscant, which she's shocked to see that he's younger than the others. But she then questions Cad Bane about how many children he's captured and where he captured Bairn, but he doesn't answer any of the questions and just wants his credits, and once he gets them, he leaves. And so Emery takes Bairn back to Mount Tantus, which back there, Emery learns that Jax is actually being punished, and so Ava is mad at her for lying and, tells her that all he wanted was to go home and that they all want to go home. Which later we see Emery feel bad and she remembers the Tuga doll Omega made. So she takes it and gives it to Ava, places it at Ava's door while she's sleeping. And as she wakes up, we see Emery watch Ava find the doll. And that's where the episode ends. Like I said, I thought it was a great episode. I really enjoyed diving more into Emery, but also just the true horrors of Mount Tantus with the children being held prisoner and just seeing all the shocking and sad scenes there with them. Like I said, just made me hate Hemlock more and just made him even more evil than he was before. So, I quite enjoyed the episode. So, my grade, I'm going to give it an A. So, yeah. But next, I'll review episode 11, Point of No Return, which released alongside this episode. So check out my review for that one then. But in the meantime, check out my reviews on the first 9 episodes and all my other Bad Batch reviews and everything else to do. Live in Star Wars review. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.
For all of you. Give us a real challenge. We're not big on following orders.